Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
What is up, Lock Shoppers? Matt Iwanek in with you here on the Lock Shop, presented by Play Alberta for just a few minutes. As Dusty's just wrapping up his game with Yukon Jack in her Tecmo Super Bowl League. Went to overtime. They need to finish off overtime. So I'm with you here. Huss will be here momentarily, and then Dusty will take over as well. Lots to get to on the Lock Shop today for the boys. The reason I know there is Dusty's got his sheet for what they're going to talk about on the Lock Shop today. I'll give you a heads up. CFL weekend recap, and then there's a few things. Week 5 lines up at Play Alberta. Huss is going to have to go in and guess these lines. I love when they do that. What do we got? The Elks actually the underdogs going into this Sunday's game. I don't like that, so I do like those odds. Dusty's play of the day is the Elks plus 2.5 against Ottawa. I do like that. NHL free agency tomorrow, Jays and Yankees today. That's a lot to get to on the Lock Shop. If that game's still going on when Huss is here, we'll quickly talk some Gold Cup as well as... I know Haas is going to want to talk a little bit about that as well, because disappointing loss for Canada yesterday as they fell to Guatemala. Your thoughts? Welcome, 780-218-9999. That is the inbox. You can jump in to the nasty chat. Want to give you a reminder on those Play Alberta codes. Today's the last day for these June codes. Tomorrow, or not tomorrow. I don't think we'll have them for tomorrow. There will be free agency coverage. I'll get to that right away here for tomorrow, but I guess for Wednesday, there'll be some new promo codes coming from Play Alberta and Edmonton Sports Talk. But if you haven't used these, EST Casino, when you deposit 20 or more, will get you a $50 free casino bet play, I should say. EST Sports, when you deposit 20 or more, will get you a $50 free sports bet, or deposit 5 or more and use YEG50. And you'll get a $50 free bet as well on sports. Tomorrow, Reed Wilkins, myself, we'll be on at about 10 o'clock right here on Edmonton Sports Talk across all of our streams. EdmontonSportsTalk.com, tune in, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, live on YouTube. We'll be on. Dusty will stop by for a little bit. We'll connect with Tommy. We'll talk with him. But we'll have you covered for a few hours with free agency tomorrow. What we know right now is the Edmonton Oilers, they have signed Kapanen on a 1-year deal. They've signed Noah Philp as well. It looks like Connor Brown and Corey Perry will be hitting the UFA market. We'll also be seeing what's going to happen. This is, as of tomorrow officially. That's as of tomorrow officially. They could sign Connor McDavid. Not expecting that one tomorrow. Evan Bouchard waiting for him. Does anything happen with Victor Arvidsson? Does anything happen with Adam Henrique in terms of moving them to clear up cap space? We will see throughout the course of today as well as tomorrow with a little bit of the free agency. Trev, just let me know when you're ready to pass him on. Oh, he's good to go. Let's bring on Haas. Haas, don't worry. You are with Dusty today. He's just finishing a Tecmo game. It's in overtime with him on Yukon Jack. So they're just wrapping that up.
Who's got him in OT?
It's OT. It's Rams, Giants. I think Dusty's about to finish this off. I think he's in. Yeah, I think he just scored. Yeah, Dusty just won. Come from behind win. He moves to 10-0 in our Tecmo League. So he'll be here momentarily. But Haas, not a good one yesterday.
What the? Oh,
yeah.
I almost swore. How,
you're going to have to wait a second. We're talking Gold Cup.
How the hell did we lose to El Salvador? It completely ruined my entire weekend.
Oh, I was frustrated. I was angry. I was about to barbecue and stuff. I started barbecuing just angry, which never is the way to do it. You're on a yellow. Why are you doing that play, Jacob Schaffelberg? Why are you being that physical? You're on a yellow already.
Reckless. And we know that the CONCACAF, they're not looking to do Canada any favors.
No.
So you have to have a little bit of discretion. Listen, I didn't mind the play if he didn't have a yellow.
Yes,
but you need to have awareness. And it just, listen, the crazy thing was they had a few chances down to 10 men in the second half, but you knew that at that point you're up by 1, you're down to 10 men. There's a lot of good players on all of these teams. Things can happen, and it did. And then I don't even know what to say about the penalty shots. What, Kyle Laren's 5 of 11 from the dot now in his career?
Of all the guys to miss, was one of our leading goal scorers ever in the program. But also, like, I'll say this, to me, Maxime Crepeau has to be the starter for Canada going into the World Cup. Like, St. Clair's pretty good throughout a game, but he Ivory Coast, he didn't make a save in penalties. Yesterday, he didn't make a save in penalties. He guessed the right away a couple times, but he couldn't keep the ball out of the net. Maxime Crepeau is a guy that would have got a couple of saves yesterday. I know of it. We've seen it. I think yesterday should have confirmed to Jesse Marsh that Maxime Crepeau will be the starter. I'm going to let you jump on from that part, and then Dusty's going to slide in here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for anyone that watched it yesterday, I mean, Canada, nice first half. They were up 1-0 on a Jonathan David penalty. And then Jacob Schaffelberg, who already had a yellow, ran in, trucked a dude at the end of this first half, ends up getting booted. And then all of a sudden, you're in a 1-0 game and you're down a man for the entire 45 minutes of the second half, and they got absolutely burned. And I got burned too, because I had a beautiful Jays, Argos, Canada parlay.
Oh, no.
That got worked by the damn men's Nats. And the worst thing about this is I was so excited for Wednesday night, which would have been Canada
US
versus USA. But that was done. That was done before the US even got on the pitch. So very disappointing, kind of ruined the entire weekend. But and then the US had to survive penalties against Costa Rica as well. Canada wasn't able to do so, though. Dusty, how are you? How was the weekend?
I mean, first of all, the week has started great. I just won in overtime to keep my perfect season intact.
Who are you playing?
I go to 10-0. I was playing Yukon Jack. He'd won 3 in a row, surprisingly.
Wow.
And he was the Rams with like the bus, Jerome Bettis, dialing it back early 90s. I was the Giants with Phil Simms at quarterback and Rodney Hampton at running back. And it went to overtime. He got the ball to start overtime, but I forced a punt. And then I drove the field and punched one in. So, but I was nerve-wracking there. I was on tilt for a little bit.
Tough to punt in OT.
I did. He was on a 4th and 8 on his own 20. I mean, what's he going to do, right? So, but, I mean, outside of that, the weekend was pretty good.
Sudden death in Tecmo OT?
Sudden death in Tecmo regular season overtime, yeah. Yeah, there's none of this. None of this both sides. It's like, we should, it'll probably go to the rules committee at some point. Should both team. Now, he did have a possession, right? So technically.
Oh, yeah, he blew it. But I just mean like that opportunity. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You got to. I'm just thinking of 4th and 8 on my own 20 in Tecmo against you in overtime. Do I go for it?
I mean, I think you probably made the right play. But it was good. Like he played me pretty tight. I gave up more defensively than I thought it was going to, but I do love a job where I'm like, it's going to overtime, Maddie. You're going to have to start lock shop, And I don't know if I missed. I guess you guys just talked Gold Cup. Even I got sucked in. I was watching Gold Cup. I was at the Regina airport yesterday afternoon coming home, and I was there like an hour early, and I was sitting there doing some prep, working on some stuff, and then I saw it was going to kicks, so I popped up the kicks. And there is something about kicks in soccer that just, I mean, I'm not a guy who's going to sit down and Canada World Cup for sure, obviously. But kicks just get me every time. I don't care who it is. It could be Elizabeth's soccer team going to kicks. And I'm like, shut up, everybody. It's kicks. Let's see how this goes.
The intensity and the drama is always there. I mean, listen, we should have never been in that situation to begin with, but we were. And, Maddie was just talking about who should be our goalie for next year at the World Cup. I mean, that Dane St. Clair, like the first two, he guesses right. He's right in the spot.
I know.
I just wasn't able to prevent it from going in. Which
through his hands and then under his torso. That one, I thought, oh my God.
Like how did that go in? But and then listen, Kyle Laren, your top goal scorers, you got to be able to count on them in penalties, and he's a sub 50% shooter for his career now.
How can you be sub 50%? in a soccer penalty kick? Like, nothing. Look, let's be honest. I mean, the only time you don't score is when you screw up, essentially. Like, it's insanely difficult for a keeper to make some of these saves, right? Like, execute better. Now, Huss, do you think you follow soccer more closely than I do? Maddie follows it more closely than both of us. But I saw like a lot of like major issues now going in the World Cup. They've got like it seemed like everybody was all of a sudden severely doubting any of the chances we may have had. Not that we're going to win the World Cup, but to find some success. It seemed like it was almost, from what I saw from some people who followed the team yesterday, and not blow it up mode, but like significant changes need to be made.
Well, I would agree. Now, let's keep in mind that we didn't have Stefan Estacio in the middle. Thanks a lot, Porto. Alphonso Davies is rehabbing from his injury, so he wasn't there. There's probably a few players that will be in our lineup that weren't there. But listen, I mean, there's no way you can sugarcoat this. I mean, it is a disappointment as big as anything our team has seen in a long, long time, partly because of how well they've done, the way they've progressed. And listen, I'm a huge Jesse Marsh fan. I love the guy, but I think he's got some, well, maybe he learned some hard lessons this time, shall we say. I'm not sure. We move forward, but not being able to play in this semi and potentially a final in the Gold Cup is a real hit because, I mean, there's not a lot left before next year's World Cup. I mean, these players are going to go to their own teams. We do have that friendly against Colombia coming up in the fall, which will be, I think, very important for our team. And then, you know, you're getting ready to host the World and play on home turf. I guess the one thing that we should be pumped about is that when we did play on home turf in BC in this tournament, they smashed Honduras 6-0. Unfortunately, that was the end of the good times. The minute they crossed the border, things got ugly. So, I don't know. We got together. There was a whole bunch of us watching the game yesterday and just could not believe the way that it went. And I was like, okay, well, that's it for the tourney. But we move on. We've got a big week of CFL action coming up.
We got a weekend to recap as well.
Free agency tomorrow.
Well, and a couple of trades just moving here, Huss, in the NHL.
Hit me.
So Tarasenko has been traded from Detroit to Minnesota for future considerations. I believe there are some people in this market who've been saying that if Tarasenko does indeed get moved, Detroit could be interested in getting their hands on Victor Arvidsson. So that's something to possibly keep tabs on. And then this one just breaking a few moments ago, Maple Leafs acquiring Matthias Maselli from Utah. And that one's like so fresh that we don't know what the return is or anything along those lines. Oh, there it is. It's a third rounder. So a third rounder for Maselli, who I remember a couple of years ago, he had a really nice season.
Yeah, he was. I think that might have been his rookie season.
Yeah, and then, he had a really good rookie season. Oh, okay, so he had 49 points in 64 games. He played 23 games in 21-22. Then the next year, played 64, had 49 points. Then 2 years ago, he had 57 points in 82 games. And then last year, he had just 18 in 55. So a bit of a down year. He's not a big guy, 5'11", $185. But yeah, just a third rounder. So that's an interesting pickup.
Without looking, do you know what country he's from?
I would say, I didn't look. I swear to God, it has hockey DB. I didn't look there. It sounds Italian.
Well, I thought Italian too. I think he's a Finn.
What?
A not very Finnish sounding Finn.
Oh yeah, he was born in Turku, home of Saku Koivu as well. I did not. A
little bit of hockey trivia if you want to stump your friends there, folks. Matthias Maselli, ask him where he's from. Speaking of which, the Jets took that Sasha Boumedienne.
Yeah, Boumedienne.
In the first round. He is a Finnish-born Swede who lives in the States with a French name. and is now, or sounds French, at least to me.
Well, it definitely sounds French, and everybody says it. Sacha Boumediene.
I guess you're a big draft guy, but I guess with the Oilers being barely having any picks, it was tough to lock in too much. Not to mention you were also calling a football game.
I was also calling football games over the weekend as well. And but let's just quickly hit on hockey for a second here. Then we'll recap CFL. New CFL lines are out. If you haven't seen them yet, I want you to guess them. So if you haven't seen them,
I haven't.
Okay, perfect. Okay. I love that. I get very excited on Mondays. And Play Alberta has had these bad boys up like first thing Monday mornings, which is awesome. I know they want to drive a lot of CFL betting, and that's good news to get those lines out. I think there's some things we can take advantage of early in the week, so we'll get to that, and we'll recap everything that happened in the CFL as well. But just us, I mean, we're a day away from free agency. The Oilers don't have a ton of cap space. They got Kapanen done today, Noah Philp again today, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll get into that a little bit more on Oil Stream here on Edmonton Sports Talk today, but the Jets got a lot of money. What do they need to take care of here? Outside of Ehlers, of course. The Ehlers thing, like they would pay Ehlers, just a matter of if Ehlers wants to stay or try something new. Is that what it is?
Ehlers is going to see what's out there. I mean, there is the chance that there is an obscene offer waiting for Ehlers on the free market, especially with the fact that
I think there could be.
Mitch Marner apparently is all but done going to Vegas based on who you believe, which makes Nikolai Ehlers the number one guy. And I mean, we just keep hearing Carolina over and over again. I mean, I think Carolina is the sort of market that he wouldn't mind playing in. I think he knows he's been going to be going to a really good team. The irony of it is, though, that, I mean, the Panthers, the Hurricanes are already a really good team that have plenty of offense that I think sort of need to, like, they need a Sam Bennett or two in their lineup to be able to take that next step against the Panthers, or the Florida Panthers. And I don't know whether Ehlers is that guy. Like, I'm an Ehlers defender when it comes to some of the playoff things. I mean, listen, he didn't, in the 17-18 run, he was a non-factor and wasn't able to score. And that was probably the one guy that the Jets really could have used more from in that run to maybe get over the Vegas Golden Knights and move forward. But, the last couple playoff series, he's been fine. He does have a little bit of injury issue. He's had some really bad luck more than anything in around then. But I just don't know. Like, it just seems like Ehlers is maybe a little bit more of the same, although not even the total Carolina type with the way that Brindamore has them on the forecheck and all that. So, like, I don't know about the fit. He's good enough that wherever he goes, he's going to make an impact. He'll help on the power play. He'll score. I just do wonder about what Carolina is trying to do to their team, knowing that what they have to do is beat Florida. I'm not sure how much Ehlers changes the way that they look going up against a team like that. But they've got a lot of cap space. They've been looking at a star player. He probably doesn't have that same notoriety because he's been playing in Winnipeg and, has been sort of behind a few guys in this lineup, but he'll be there. So
you know who else you might have to be worried about with Ehlers? Sorry, just on this Ehlers front, then we'll go the rest of the Jets. Drager on our show this morning said that Kenny Holland in LA is like, he really wants Marner to get the free agency. And then Drager said he's expecting this Marner Vegas thing to get done today. If Marner's done, Ehlers is undoubtedly the most sought after free agent. I could see the Kings coming heavy after him too.
Yeah. Well, the Kings were one of those teams that we thought would sort of be making a big splash in free agency. Great market to go to, great place to play. They've got the money. They had a pretty good team last year. And to me, to be honest, when you think about the way that Carolina plays, the way that LA plays, and what both teams have, I think he'd make more of a difference in LA, to be honest. But it'll be interesting. I mean, there's a lot of people here that are still holding out a little bit of hope that he'll see what's there on the open market and circle back. But from following the guys around here and what people are saying about the Jets, it seems that their plan A is now seemingly Brock Besser. And Besser would be a nice add. I mean, 25 and 25 last year, scored 40 the year before. He's from just outside the Twin Cities, so not too far away. We've got a bunch of Minnesota guys on this team right now. And the one thing I'll say about Besser, when you hear everything out of Vancouver, is just what a beloved teammate he was, and a guy that the players on the Canucks really, really loved. And listen, the Jets have done such a good job at doing a 180 of their locker room. It seems like he'd be a guy that would be a great fit here. But that probably is the top name on everyone's list. But again, I mean, I say that with knowing that more often than not, the Jets aren't really a big player in free agency. Not that they don't have money or they don't want to offer it. It's just that, listen, when guys have plenty of options, they're usually not picking the smallest and coldest market in the league. So that's something that, even though it's beautiful here right now, gorgeous, in fact, the season isn't on July 1st. It's on January 1st, and that can be a challenge. But that's why we like the Northern guys. So we'll see what happens with Brock Besser. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets look, a couple more depth adds of guys that maybe aren't at the top of anybody's lists. And, we will still see. I mean, there have been a few trades that have been made today. I do think that the team here is going to be on the phone quite a bit with teams that maybe have their own cap issues and are looking to move on a player and potentially be that team that can take on the cap, add a player without too much of a cost and put them in a better situation. But rest assured that tomorrow and Wednesday, if Nikolai Ehlers is no longer a Winnipeg Jet, which it looks like he won't be, then the big question is going to be, okay, what did they do to replace them, and how do they move forward without a guy that has been so important to much of their success over the past number of years?
Spency 5 Centy in the chat says, Jets can't get Besser if the Oilers get him first. And I know it was said over the weekend that the Oilers could be an option for Brock Besser as well. I think it'd be extremely difficult financially to make that work. But
you guys take $8+ million, another deal over
this is Rashad kind of laid it out earlier today. Like, we're assuming Arvidsson gets traded probably after the dust settles on the first day of free agency, and anybody who came up short might be interested in Arvidsson. Rashad suggested that, maybe you have to move Henrique as well, and then that would free up $7 to $8 million with those two guys. And
surely
then you
they've
could
got no moves, don't they?
What's that? Yeah.
Surely they both have no moves.
No, they do both have no moves. Arvidsson, yeah, of course, man. Of course, everybody has a no move here. So Arvidsson has a no move.
Are they trading these guys?
Arvidsson's ready to go. We reported on Oil Stream in February that he was not happy here. He's ready to go. So Arvidsson is good to be moved, I think. The Henrique one will be interesting. Henrique, I don't know. They're in a tough spot. I mean, I think Henrique's probably, if they don't add a top 6 forward somehow, trade, free agency, or whatever, I think Henrique starts the year in the top 6 as a winger. Him or Frederick, one or the other. So, and then the other guy would be Matt Savoy, who had a great year as a rookie in the American League, that top 10 guy in the past, got him in that McLeod trade. He'll play next year, but how much can you heap on a young guy, this early? So they want to get a top 6 forward. I just don't know financially if they can somehow maneuver well enough to make it be Brock Besser.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, the thought of the Oilers throwing $50+ million on the table.
And of course, a 7-year no movement clause. Don't forget that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, good luck trading Henrique. I mean, he had a bunch of suitors. He took what he took to come here, got that no move. Think he really wants to leave a team that just went to the Cup Finals that has Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on it?
Probably not.
Where's he agreeing to take a trade to right now?
I mean, unless it's the Florida Panthers, there's not many other better spots out there for you. So, yeah, like I said, I don't think they can get. I think it'll be a relatively quiet to disappointing day for Oilers fans tomorrow. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when we get there. Anything else on the NHL, Huss? Or if not, we'll start over CFL.
What is the Oilers cap space as of tomorrow?
Well, they gave Kapanen 1.3 today. Now, with that being said, they can just bury Jones. So it's about $12 million. 10 to 10.5 of that I can break it all down for you right now. 10 to 10.5 of that go to Bouchard. So then you're looking at $1.5 million. Do you trade Arvidsson, which I'd be stunned if it doesn't happen. So that pushes you up to about, let's say, $5.5, $6 million. And then that would be it, unless you can also move out Henrique. So they'll have about $5 to $6 million, I think, to play with. And then, I don't know how it will work essentially with, will Ekholm start the year on the LTIR and do some things there? So I don't know. That it's not. There are a lot of teams going to free agency with a lot more money than the Edmonton Oilers, and a bunch of those teams are. I don't want to necessarily say just as good because the Oilers just went to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, but a lot of those teams that do have some cap space would be very attractive landing spots for some of the top free agents, right?
Yeah, listen, I wouldn't get my hopes up for a big fish if I'm the Oilers right now. Not to mention that, Arvidsson's still on the roster right now. I mean, if they were going to do something impending, I guess I see your point. Teams that sort of get shut out and some other things, maybe they jump on a player like that and take him off. But I mean, it's not like a lot of teams are looking to do the Oilers favors either.
No, that's true.
This is the team right now that's won the West for the last 2 seasons. I mean, you'd have to really think you're improving your club to make a deal with them if you're in the West, knowing that this is just going to give them some cap flexibility and the ability to do the things that they want to do. So it really is fascinating right now. Let me ask you this. When do you think they get a deal done? Assuming they get the deal done with Bouchard, which I imagine they would, is it going to be long-term? And how long do you think it takes to get done? Because we saw what happened last year.
I know.
With the Edmonton Oilers by not allowing themselves enough cap space to handle what could happen after July 1st. I can't imagine a scenario where they get burned twice on that. But that's another reason why, unless something changes very quickly, I don't know how they could possibly even think about getting aggressive tomorrow, knowing that if they do and the other parts of it that don't come through, you could be in the same situation you were last year with a very important guy on your blue line.
Yeah, I think you got to take that into consideration for sure. Like just for example, and I know we're stretching here a little bit, but Darren Dreger said this morning on our show that Ken Holland put together a hell of an offer for Rasmus Andersson. And apparently Rasmus Andersson was like, I don't necessarily want to play in LA. But the Kings have $23 million in cap space. If Kenny Holland, people think Kenny Holland told Doug Armstrong, like, go screw the Oilers because he didn't like the way it ended. Can you imagine if Kenny Holland waits, watches Jeff Jackson and Stan Bowman sign a forward that they can't necessarily afford, and then submits an offer sheet on Evan Bouchard, which would be all-time hilarious. But I don't see that happening. I think they'll go. Now, as far as timeline goes, I'm not sure. As far as contract goes, somewhere between 9.5, 10.5, and I think now we're looking at a 4-year deal.
I'm looking at the number. Like right now, the Oilers have 11. Puck Pete is showing they have $11 million and $50,000.
Yeah, and then I take Jones off of that because he'll be in the American League, so that'll be 12. They got 12.
But he's on the roster right now.
He's on the roster now, yeah.
You can go 10% over?
You can go 10% over, which is $9.5 million.
Okay, so they will have that opportunity. Put it this way. The LA is not going to give him a $12 million offer because that would be 4 first-round picks.
Yeah.
But if you go, say they went to 11-7, which is the max under the second tier, it would be 2 first-rounders, a second, and a third. Like 11-7 would not be easy for the Oilers to match.
Yeah, you're right. And they would basically have to just leave the rest of the roster the same.
And I mean, do they even have enough players?
They'd be running a little short up front. They'd have to go with some like league min guys.
mean,
I don't think
literally.
I don't think it gets to that though. I think they'll.
I mean, I guess you would have
done.
7 defensemen.
Yeah.
Got 2 goalies. As I said, listen, I am here for it. It would be hilarious if that happened. I mean, the 1-2 punch of Ken Holland's buddies and then the revenge of Holland doing it the other way. Do you think they would automatically match? If it was 11-7?
I think they have to, man. I think that it sucks, but you have to. You have to. Like, you have to. I mean, you're gonna let 70-point defenseman walk, who's been pretty damn good in the last few playoffs. Smitty the Welder says, "See ya. Let Wallman run the power play." I don't know. Bronco Nick says, "I'd take the compensation." I don't know.
Really?
I think they'd match it. I can see why people would say that, but I think the organization would match it.
I think before it would come to that, I'm sure they would trade him. I mean, you'd look at a trade. If they thought that it wasn't going to be possible for them to sign him at the number that he needs to get to agree to sign, and you're worried about an offer sheet, I think at that point, then you say, okay, hold on a second. Maybe we can recoup some cap space, some draft capital, and a defenseman that won't be at Bouchard's level to come in. But listen, as I say, I don't think that happens. I think he signs at some point, but the longer it takes, the more pressure it puts on the Oilers to get done, because everything else, like often happens when you've got some big RFAs, sort of has to take second fiddle, because you don't want to be in the situation the Oilers were last year when all of a sudden you're getting offer sheeted. And that's the only time offer sheets ever happen, when you put yourselves in that vulnerable position.
All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. We will have a special EST free agency broadcast at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Reed Wilkins and Maddie for sure in studio. I might join them in studio. I might just connect on from home. But yeah, looking forward to that. Huss, you guys doing anything for WST tomorrow?
Yeah. I'm going to be away. I mean, if the Jets do something big, I'll jump on. But we'll have Connor and Liz jumping on at 1 o'clock when we're normally there to give an update, a roundup of everything happening, the latest on the Jets. We've got our development camp happening as well right now. Are the Oilers even having development camp after barely having any picks?
That's a good question. I don't know if I've even seen anything on that. They've brought a bunch of guys in from college and overseas. Let me see here. I don't know. I don't know if I've seen anything from the media team on any sort of camp in the near future, but somebody might know that and pass it along. All right, Huss, let's get over. We've been waiting too long to the Canadian Football League. We're going to guess these lines that have been set for this week. But first, let's recap last week in the CFL. Winnipeg got by Edmonton 36-23. Hamilton, we talked about them being a live home dog. They got by Montreal 35-17. The Riders at home convincingly 37-18 over Jeremiah Mazzoli, who does not look like he's got much left in the tank. And then Toronto goes into Ottawa and beats the Red Blacks 29-16. What did you say about Mazzoli there?
I said, don't get me going on him right now.
Yeah. Did you have the Lions plus the number?
Yeah, and
so did I.
Let me tell you something. That game, and I know it doesn't sound close, and really in the second half it wasn't. Dusty, you called it. I mean, one of the most inexcusable picks I've seen in a game that basically lost them that football game. Like, they were in field goal range. It is
to go up 10-9. They would have gone up 10-9 at the half.
And instead of being 10-9, it's 16-7. And it was such a dagger to the Lions. Now, listen,
just a horrible throw.
Terrible on Mazzoli to do it. I don't know what they're thinking, even having that play being a possibility at that point. I mean, what were they going to do? Get an extra 6-7 yards for a field goal? Like, whatever, dump it off down the middle to get a little bit more, run the football. The risk reward of that play was so egregious, and they got burned as badly as they could have been burned. It was a huge boost for the Riders. And as they say, now I don't know whether that is, McSimic. I don't know whether that's Buck Pierce. I don't know whether that's Jeremiah Mazzoli trying to be a hero. but they all looked brutal after that play. And there was just no coming back for it. I mean, they played a real solid first half. They handled the Riders early. They limited them to field goals. They were moving the football. They were in the position to be, if they literally took a knee on that play, they're probably up at halftime on the road.
But you've got the most accurate kicker in the history of the game, and it would have been a 30-yarder. So, yeah, it didn't look good. Riders go to 4-0. Montreal suffers their first loss. Bombers remain unbeaten as well. We had somebody text in today and say who we think is the best team. I know you guys were talking about this on CFL 110 a little bit last week.
Having just seen, I mean, you've just seen both. You've called both of these teams.
Yeah, I've called Montreal too. Like I've seen all three of them. What'd you say? What was the last thing you said there?
I said, just thinking about the West.
Yeah.
Next week, neutral field. The Riders you just saw on Saturday. Bombers you just saw on Thursday. They're playing. Who would you make as the favorite?
Okay, are Trevor Harris and Brady Oliveira playing?
Yeah, let's assume
Brady was back at practice yesterday. Trevor is he's close. He's close, right? So
let's assume Trevor Harris is playing. Let's assume that the teams have their lineups full.
Oh man, neutral field. I would probably say that line goes Winnipeg -1.5.
Yeah, a slight
favorite. Slight favorite, close to a pick'em. I thought saying a pick'em would kind of be a cop-out. So I wanted to pick a side. I think I'd probably say Bombers short favorite. But the Riders look good, man. The Riders look really good. Offensively, they are running the ball incredibly well right now. AJ Ouellette, there's some huge holes there. That offensive line is great. Since they took Jamarcus Hardrick from the Bombers, they're 8-1 in games in which he actually plays. So, because he missed so much time last year, right? So when Hardrick is healthy and Harris is healthy, they're a tough out. And the Bombers look very good again. Their defense. I was stunned that the Elks held them to 4 2-and-outs in the third quarter of that game. But I said on the broadcast with 11 minutes left when Winnipeg got the ball, I said to Suits, I said, this is what we see every single game from the Bombers, specifically at home. They get the ball. They, for the most part, run it down your throat, take 5-6 minutes off the clock, and break your back. And that is exactly what they did again, which is just, it's the consistency of those drives in those moments is bordering on ridiculous.
To think that game was 23-all in the fourth quarter, and the Bombers ended up winning by double digits and covering again was crazy. But you're exactly right. I mean, they've got a blueprint. Princess Auto Stadium, full stands, fourth quarter, give Winnipeg the football and drain the defense one after another, first down. Man, it was really impressive. And by the way, Dusty, I mean, you've done a few of these games, but they're a better night for football than Thursday night here. I mean, what a scene that was in Winnipeg. Like,
it was amazing. And you know what? It was a great CFL weekend for me because I opened it up on a Thursday night in Winnipeg, beautiful weather, packed house. It couldn't get any better than that. And then we went to Regina, where it was also 24 degrees at kickoff, beautiful weather, over 27,000 in attendance at Mosaic for a 3-0 Riders. Like it was the two best spots to be. It was a really good weekend, man. Really fun weekend.
Are you doing the Labor Day Classic this year?
I am not actually. No, I'm not. I usually do Labor Day Classic and then the Elks Stamps and then Banjo Bowl. This year, I'm just doing Elks, Stamps, and then the Labor Day rematch between Elks and Stamps. So I'm on the Alberta circuit for those 2 weeks.
Wow!
But I don't think there's a game I'd rather call this year than the Banjo Bowl this year in Winnipeg. Like, so yeah, it kind of sucks. But I'm also, obviously, we'll see where Edmonton goes. Edmonton Calgary is always fun. Don't get me wrong. But Labor Day in Regina and the Banjo Bowl in Winnipeg are the two best games of the season. Simple as that. And with both teams being pretty good right now, things can change by then. Yeah, We'll see. We'll see how. I'm not in Winnipeg. I'm not in Winnipeg again today. I went over it because I was talking about those tendies again today. I'm not in Winnipeg again until September 29th. Yeah, really? I know. I don't get tendies for 3 months almost. So I'm very sad about that. Very sad about that.
Looking at the schedule or looking at the calendar, I mean, that's crazy. That's a long time without you doing those games.
Yeah.
Did you say September 29th?
I swear to God, I think it's September 29th.
That's a Monday.
Okay, wait a sec. Maybe it's... No, September 27th. Hamilton at Winnipeg.
Beautiful. You know what? You may have to work on a late flight out on Sunday, and we can catch the early NFL slate before you go to the airport.
You know, that's also not a bad idea. That's my only game that weekend, so I could probably stay a little bit later. Take the late one out on Sunday. All right, you want to guess these lines, Huss?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go. I love this. This is one of my favorite parts of the week. All right, so I'm in Calgary and Edmonton this week, so I get the what are they calling it? The Stampede Bowl on Thursday. All right, so Bombers on the road against Calgary. Calgary coming off a bye. Who do you like in this one? Or what do you think the number is?
Bombers will definitely be favored, and it'll be more than a touchdown, I would say. Let's go 8.5.
Well, if you like the Bombers right now, buddy, you're going to want to get on this. It is opened at Play Alberta. Winnipeg minus 3.5.
What?
Yeah, I know you can't play on Play Alberta because you're out in Manitoba, but if you want me to put a few bucks on that one, let me know. Yeah, it's Winnipeg minus 3.5.
Well, I mean, Kate, what do you think about that?
I mean, I thought it would be closer to 6. Especially, well, I'm stunned by the 3.5. I don't know if I would have gone more. I thought it would have opened around 6. So 3.5.
If we're giving teams 3 points for home field, are we saying that a neutral field, the Bombers would basically be a pick'em, a half-point favorite over Calgary? That's crazy to me.
No, isn't it the other way? Calgary would be 6.5. If we're giving Calgary.
Calgary's the home team. Oh, yeah.
So it would be like a 6.5.
Yeah. 6.5. But that's still, I would have said that Bombers.
I would suggest getting on the Bombers early here this week for sure. Because that line will move.
Calgary does have a couple wins, but again,
they're not a pushover, and of course it is it's the Stampede game. So first one in a long time there for that one.
Right.
But it's 3.5. That BC game last week, even though there was no Nathan Rourke and he was a game time decision, that line ended up closing at 3, and we got it at 6.5 earlier in the week.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. It didn't matter anyway, but yeah.
It was as low as 1.5.
What?
At a certain point. Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't see that.
I think there was, a thought that, well, first of all, there was a thought that maybe Rourke would play after that fact that Trevor Harris was officially ruled out. It was just a tough week for the CFL with all the backup quarterbacks going.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was tough. Harris got popped in the head, but like Rourke and Davis Alexander were non-contact injuries, right? You can't do anything. And that's just going to happen. So, but yeah, it was tough.
I get the teams kind of protecting their quarterbacks early on in the season. You don't want to go with your backup, but at the same point, it's a lot of football left to be played, and you got to put yourself in. But just finishing up this Calgary-Winnipeg game, I really did think that based on what we saw last week with the Bombers being a big favorite and then still finding a way to cover in the fourth quarter, that these numbers were going to get bigger, like almost too big, like what we thought, or at least I thought was the case last week against Edmonton. So that is interesting. I mean, it is a road game, but 3.5 right off the bat. I wouldn't be surprised if that number goes up, but probably not up to where I was thinking of right off the bat with it being in excess of a touchdown. But I really thought that that's what bookmakers would hang on the Bombers right now, just because of what they've done so far this year, winning all 3 of their games in convincing fashion in double digits.
Hamilton, Toronto, in Toronto.
Ooh, Give me the Argos -1.5.
Almost nailed it. Argos -2. Argos -2. Almost nailed that one. BC on the road in Montreal. That's the Saturday game, and Edmonton's got the Sunday game.
Montreal -5.5.
Boom, nailed it on the nose. On the nose, good sir.
Right.
That's a non-Rourke number too, right? You think?
Yeah, I think
with Rourke, it's a field goal. You think?
Yeah, but
I'll tell you this right now.
What about Davis Alexander?
Oh yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, that's a good point. But if the Lions have to roll out Jeremiah Mazzoli again in Montreal against the Alouettes defense, I don't think there's a number that I would. I don't know. I don't think you get the number big enough to get me on them.
It might be second mortgage time.
Yeah,
for that game.
That's a big one. All right, and then the Ottawa Redblacks on the road in Edmonton on Sunday. The Elks looking for their first win of the season. What's the line?
Okay. Edmonton -1.5.
Ottawa -2.5. Yeah.
I'll be taking Edmonton.
I already said I made it Dusty's play of the day over on Twitter. I was like, I think this is a number that you want to get on right now.
Well, and I spent some time last week talking about it. I mean, in advance of the Bomber Elk game that, okay, listen, Elks need a win. This is a really, really tough spot and they probably won't get it. I mean, dude, I think for this franchise, this is a game on, what did you say? It's Sunday?
It's a Sunday.
So they'll have a long practice week, which is a good thing for them. This is an absolute must win for Edmonton. I mean, new ownership, new coaches, lots of new players. I know they played some tough teams early on and they find themselves in this situation. For the team, for Trey Ford, they have to win this game. And listen, I think they're in a pretty good spot taking on an Ottawa team that, listen, if Drew Brown comes back in time for that game, obviously that's going to make things a little more challenging. And I would suggest that Ottawa number, they expect Drew Brown back. But to me, like at least right now with the Dustin Crum-led Red Blacks, I would take Edmonton as a slight favorite, on home field. I'm kind of shocked that Ottawa's getting -2.5. That to me says that Drew Brown is back and they're expecting him to be.
That does seem like a Drew Brown line, doesn't it?
That being said, I will be taking Edmonton. So what's the Edmonton money line?
Edmonton money line right now, I think it was plus 112.
Not bad.
Plus 112. I just did this for a little lock shop partner parlay today. I moved the Bombers down to -2.5. I flipped the Bombers and the Elks lines. So the Elks, I put at +3.5, took the Bombers down to -2.5 and sent it over to the boys. I think that's a nice early week. Let's get on those numbers right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
They'll get you nice for the people out there. They can jump on. But yeah, Bombers, until further notice, especially against teams that are sort of outside of that Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, Montreal tier. I mean, if we're talking about a number inside a touchdown, I'll be taking Winnipeg. And listen, I think that line is a little disrespectful to Edmonton. Now, again, how much respect can you ask for when you're 0-3? But like you did that game, I thought they did a lot of good things against Winnipeg. And the fact that they were in that game in the fourth quarter shows that they can certainly play with the teams outside of that top tier, of which Ottawa is in, could be actually towards the bottom of that second tier. So I don't know. I think people are sleeping a little bit on where Edmonton's at right now, not to mention the desperation and importance of this game. So I will definitely be on the Elks on that one. And yeah, I'm with you. Jump on it early.
What's coming up on WST, Huss?
Well, our pal Shane Malloy is back from LA.
Shane Malloy.
Dude, he's the best. And man, I was talking to him off air. I'm like, so how did the draft go? because of course he was the analyst on Sirius XM NHL radio. And he said, dude, it took forever. And they were on the air for like an hour before. The first round took 4.5 hours and then had to do another 45-minute wrap. He said, I was probably talking for 6.5, 7 hours just for the first round. But we're going to get his analysis of everything that happened, talk a little bit about the Jets picks. We'll hear from the young men that are new members of the Jets and feedback from Shovel Dayoff and the head of scouting, Mark Hillier. And then Mike McIntyre is going to jump on, and we're going to look ahead to tomorrow. Life without Ehlers, who the Jets need to look at to replacing him, and everything else coming out of draft weekend. And yeah, it should be good. Obviously, we'll wrap the week in the Canadian Football League and probably, unfortunately, have to talk about that soccer game as well for a few minutes.
All right, buddy. We will check in with you on Wednesday.
Have a happy Canada Day to all my friends and nasties out in E-Town.
There you go. That is Haas. Winnipeg Sports Talk is coming up right away. I'll be in about 8 minutes. I'm going to recap our EST specials. If you've not yet downloaded the Play Alberta app, you're going to want to do that immediately as well. Once you get used to it, pretty smooth operator. They got a ton of stuff on there, man. Like, just continue to scroll down. Snooker, Rainbow Six. And these are, I think that's a video game. Kings of Glory. That must be a video game. Gaelic hurling. Water polo, which we'll be probably playing a bunch of when we go to Vegas in February. So yeah, there's Dota 2. No idea what that is. None at all whatsoever. I have no idea what that is. But there's a bunch of different leagues. Interesting. Anyway, the easiest thing is to just click on our EST specials. We've got 2 plays already up today. Use the code EST Sports. We're going to reload a code tomorrow. So be ready for that. Actually, I got to email Rick from the Play Alberta team today to make sure we get those new codes. Early bird bet of the day is up. Anyway, June's code about to expire. EST Sports, deposit 20, get 50. Okay, EST Sports, deposit 20, get 50. If you haven't used our original code, YAG50, deposit 5 and get 50. Very nice. The early bird bet went up earlier today. Yankees and Jays, 8+ runs. Vladdy with a hit, plus 142. And then my play of the day, I just think you should get on it earlier in the week. Elks plus 2.5, minus 115 at home on Sunday. So Elks plus 2.5. And I did just send over to the boys. We're moving the Elks line from 2.5 to 3.5. And we're moving the Bombers line from 3.5 to 2.5. We're putting that together. And we'll get that number up for you as well. And that's another early bird sort of CFL play for week 5, which I think will be pretty good. All right, oil streams coming up. No shortage of things to discuss. Philp got a deal done. Kapanen got a deal done. Tarasenko has been moved. What does that mean for Arvidsson? What does their lineup look like pre-free agency? And does it include Adam Henrique? We'll get into that. The numbers game for Play Alberta. We'll take a look at the Vancouver Canucks, who have 3 goaltenders. Can the Oilers somehow take advantage of that situation? You know they're not going to want a goalie back, so it could make things interesting there. So we'll get to that coming up on the oil stream right away as well. But that is going to do it for the Lock Shop today. Thank you very much for being here. And yeah, if you're riding with us tonight, best of luck. And join us on Wednesday for the next Lock Shop. Oil stream coming up next.